Sweltering temperatures have continued across southern Europe today, with firefighters tackling wildfires in Greece, Spain and Switzerland. And the heat wave is set to intensify across parts of the world. In Italy, it hit 46 degrees in Sicily today and 45 degrees in Spain. Across the Atlantic at midnight last night, the temperature in Death Valley was still 49 degrees Celsius. And China is experiencing a heat wave too, with temperatures above 40 degrees in the north in Xinjiang. Our climate editor, Justin Rolat, joins us now from Murcia in Spain, one of the hottest places in Europe.
Yeah, it really has been another exceedingly hot day here. And as you say, this is the second blistering heat wave to hit the region in as many weeks, in just 2 weeks. And as well as taking its toll on people, that is also taking its toll on the environment, drying out vegetation, making the whole region vulnerable to fire. Wildfires continued to rage in Greece today. Firefighters struggled to contain them as high winds fanned the flames. And Italy has been continuing to feel the heat too, with temperatures into the 40s and 20 cities now on heat wave alert. It turns out rain isn't the only weather that can take the sheen off your special day. Irene and her colleague Pedro look after homeless people in the southern Spanish city of Murcia.
It could be really serious, because it's not only feeling sick, but also it can bring you to death.
They work out on the streets, checking people are coping with the heat. So just think what these temperatures do to the human body. Our body temperature is 37 degrees, any higher or lower than that, and our systems begin to shut down. So our bodies are fighting to stay at 37 degrees, and that takes a huge amount of energy, a huge toll on our bodies. Irene and Pedro give out water, hats and advice. The higher the temperature, the greater the risk to human health. And of course, climate change is dialing up the heat. Look how annual average global temperatures have increased since pre-industrial levels. The world is now about 1.1 Celsius warmer than it was in the late 19th century. Now that might not sound a lot, but even a small increase in average temperatures makes a big difference. That's because it shifts the entire distribution of daily temperatures to warmer levels, as this graph shows. It makes hot days both more likely and likely to be hotter. And it isn't just Europe that's seeing that impact. Parts of the US were even hotter than Spain and Italy. Las Vegas issued an official warning that there is unlikely to be any respite from the heat for at least a week. They know all about enduring high temperatures in Arizona. It has now had 18 consecutive days above 43 degrees Celsius. And the hot weather in Asia is continuing too. There are heat stroke warnings across Japan as it recorded temperatures just shy of 40 Celsius today. Back in Spain, helicopters joined the battle to contain a wildfire in La Palma, one of the Canary Islands. More evidence of the brutal impact of this summer's extreme weather. Justin Rolat, BBC News, southern Spain.
The heat was expected to peak today, but now there are warnings the extraordinary temperatures could continue for another 10 days in parts of Italy. Hospitals and doctors in the country have brought in emergency measures to cope with the effects of the heat. Here's our Europe editor, James Mates.
The ornamental fountains of Rome have become an essential resource for those reluctant to spend expensive holiday time shut indoors. But today in particular, the effort of seeing what you came to see is exacting a price. The Colosseum, perhaps better viewed from the distant shade of Rome's pine trees. The alternative is to spend one's holiday in one of the ambulances now deployed around the city to deal with heat exhaustion, even heat stroke. The sign here by Rome's Spanish Steps tells you exactly what we're dealing with. 45 degrees, one of the hottest days ever recorded in this city. And while it will get cooler in the next day or two, it's going to stay close to 40 degrees right through to the end of the weekend. This is not just some quick burst of heat. It is a hot blast that is disrupting life completely in this country. Across 20 Italian cities now under official heat emergencies, doctors are on constant call visiting the old and the vulnerable. Here, Dr. Claudio Console checking on a disabled pensioner in a Rome suburb.
Abbiamo preso tutte le compresse stamattina?
Heat waves typically kill thousands. Dehydration and heat stress, desperately dangerous when people can't look after themselves. Donatella Fideli, a pensioner and barely mobile, tells me she's well. But she says she struggles in summer, finding it hard to stand in the heat. For the Italian health service, a heat wave this intense, most of all this long, is putting it under real strain. If this emergency gets any bigger, he told me, we're going to have to call in help, to mobilize other different agencies to work with us. It's not just the cities that are suffering. The heat and roasting dry winds are leaving the forested hillsides of southern Europe vulnerable to the smallest spark. Wildfires in Greece are now devouring woodlands perilously close to people's homes northeast of Athens. Fires like these are a regular occurrence on the Greek mainland these days, but rarely so fierce, so early in the summer. So far, the big resorts are not under threat, but some school children and tourists are being moved out fast as the firefighters move in. And if wildfires in Greece are common, in Switzerland, not so much, even high in the mountains. Heatwave Cerberus, with its near cousin, Heatwave Chiron, in very hot pursuit, are wreaking their own chaos. James Mace, ITV News, Rome.
Well, as he said, wildfires are continuing to burn across Europe tonight. Let's take a look at where exactly. Well, the biggest ones are in Spain, Switzerland, as James mentioned, Sicily, Turkey and Greece. And at least 3 fires are now burning around the Greek capital, Athens. Our senior international correspondent, John Irvine, is in the city for us tonight. John, how worried are authorities there?
Charlene, the Greek authorities and the Greek people are concerned and shocked. Concerned because, as you say, some of these fires are pretty close to the Greek capital where I am tonight. We were filming in the hills northwest of here today, and we're within about 10 miles of the city centre, and some of the fires were fierce. Now, the wildfire season in Greece begins on May the 1st, so here we are on July the 18th, and these are the first wildfires of the season. Particularly heavy rains in the spring and early summer had given rise to hopes that this year Greece might be spared, but the last 48 hours have shown that that is not to be the case. There have been something like 120 new fires recorded over the last 2 days, and conditions, I'm afraid, are absolutely perfect for these wildfires. Humidity has gone down and the temperature and winds have gone up sharply, and I'm afraid the weather forecast is grim. This new weather system, this anticyclone coming up from North Africa, if the weather forecast is correct, then the minimum high temperature in inland Greece on Thursday and Friday will be 43 degrees Celsius, 109 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the minimum daytime temperature. This may get worse before it gets any better.
OK, John, thanks very much for that. It's not just Europe, though, that's experiencing it. So, too, is the United States, where they have those record-breaking temperatures. Let's take a look. One of the hottest places right now is in Phoenix, which is in Arizona. Now, the city is in America's southwest and is expected to exceed 43 Celsius for the 19th day in a row. That would be a record run of heat. It's so hot there that there are reports of people suffering burns from touching the pavement.